Well, is the next crisis upon us? And looks like we're there. And in the short video, I'm going to explain why. Obviously, a lot of people have doubt or don't understand what's coming, but this is totally predictable. You don't have to be a student of the long wave, right? These social cycles that repeat. You just have to understand history and what's coming. Now, I put this together, this picture here of all the books. And if you're going to get one, the next economic disaster would be, well, let's say it in order. The next economic disaster, manias, panics, and crashes, big debt crisis, engine chaos, brief history doom. The time is different. That's very detailed. It's a great book. So, what is coming is only new to all of us, even myself. Even though I'm a student of history, I'm not surprised what's coming. But I think 99% of Canadians, Americans, Europeans will be surprised what's coming. And that is, it's the end of a credit cycle. It's a long wave credit cycle. And simply because the levitation in real estate in pretty much the developed world has not come from incomes, but uh, the fallen price of credit, which hit a record 5,000 year low in 2020, 2021. And now we're getting the reverse. Now, what does that lead to? A leveraged assets, not the stock markets I'm worried about. It doesn't impact the economy. It's real estate and it's leveraged. Okay, so what is this? First of all, this chart is in logarithmic format, so we can easily see the recent downturn compared to history. I have this since 2010, and you can see we've had these rising green trend lines that are just confirming the uprise in the market. Now we had that brief fall in 2020, and I don't count that. I mean, that was just at a crisis, and they spent, but that was the last leverage. Now, if you take a look at, I call the Canadian banks line in the sand, if you take a look at the rising green trend lines, that uh, TSX Diversified Equal Banks Index just broke that. And the next one is the line in the sand. This is where support is. Now, why is that important? Just whenever you hit points numerous times, it becomes more relevant, right? A trend, all you need is 2 points. The more that it hits, the more relevant that trend line. And you can see there is one, two, three, four, five, six, and this one's the seventh one. So it's a significant amount because it's just measuring supply and demand. How much demand or purchase was done above that, and how much supply is actually sold off. Once this breaks, that is it. The next crisis will be upon us. And it's so important. I'm going to cover it on tonight's spaces in more detail. And it's just signaling the earnings aren't there and the banks are in trouble. That is it. The 40-year bull market in the Canadian banks is over. It's done. How many banks are going to survive? I have no idea. Which banks? I have no idea at this point, but we know now the banks are in trouble. Um, the solutions aren't going to work because they encompass more debt. To solve a debt problem, we have to restructure the debt. Extended amortization is just more debt. Government delaying it by going into more debt to try to generate some type of nominal GDP. You know, it's not real GDP unless it's creating wealth. Unless it's creating wealth, you can't have income to tax and then distribute that. So this is interesting. I've always believed that it was going to occur in the fall. More than likely, it looks like it's going to happen by October at the latest. So we're going to cover that in detail. If you want to know specifically what to do, if you haven't followed me on Substack, you can subscribe for free. There's a paid service, and the paid service has access to the models. What you can do. It's a long wave model that I built. Wasn't ever planning to build this, and what you can do, how to take advantage of it, or how to avoid what's coming. Because once that occurs, then we're going to get economic winter, and then the next 18, 20 years is an adjustment to all that. It's going to be interesting. And when it breaks, the crisis is closer than anybody thinks. We'll talk soon.